Hello, welcome everyone to Hash It Out with Toya Zhang. I'm your host. Today joining me is Justin, head of an incubator from Town Foundation. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you, Toya. Glad to be here.
So let's start by introducing yourself,
Yeah.
your self story, and your story with Town Foundation.
Town Foundation, absolutely. So, my journey with Town Foundation began 9 months ago, so start of 2022. Prior to that, I was in the institutional group out at BlockFi for about a year. Even prior to that, I was with a company called Alex Partners doing completely something different. I was in restructuring, consulting / banking. So I come from a TradFi background to a CFI startup and now to a completely crypto native project, Town Foundation.
Yeah, what about Town Foundation? Can you explain to our viewers more about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for many of the viewers, Town Foundation is still quite a mystery, rightfully so. It was started out as a community fork of the original Telegram blockchain. So Telegram blockchain in 2018 was supposed to be this big new thing in terms of the integration with the wallet and the messenger, which was supposed to power sort of billion plus user adoption from Web 2 to Web 3. Unfortunately, after the SEC ruling saying that this is the securities and all that stuff, for about a while, the open source community, knowing that there is still validators running the nodes, that there is still activity in the testnet, still kept going on with the production of the actual testnet itself. And officially in May 2020, Telegram team seized the GitHub. They ceased to give the GitHub to the open source community, which was named at the time Newton. So Newton team effectively rebranded to the Open Network. They turned on the mainnet from the testnet once the proof of work smart contract mining was going on, which is the way that Telegram team effectively, in a decentralized manner, gave out the testnet tokens to the community. And the ton.org website URL was officially handed over as well. So that's how Town Foundation came to be, with sort of major stakeholders and major developers and other people who have interest in seeing this project continue formulated. And I was lucky to join this Town Foundation through one of the founding members inviting me to work on the community aspects. And now I've been doing a lot of the incubation aspects, which includes propping up the grants program, coming up with our first and second ecosystem funds, and 3, coming up with awards programs to attract developers from other L1s and other dApp projects.
So actually, Town has a long history. The whole crypto history doesn't come long, but Town was one of the oldest ones. So how far do you think the vision and development is deviating from the original one, or is adjusting to the new kind of landscape of crypto?
Absolutely. So the core vision of Telegram's team was to create a decentralized web, first and foremost. So if you think about Bitcoin, which came out with a white paper titled Peer-to-Peer Network, it had an objective in mind, which was supposed to be, hey, I should be able to give value to another person without there being a third party. Unfortunately, other than you talking to Bitcoin maxis who believe in the Lightning Network, it's kind of come to be sort of a store of value at this point. And then ETH comes along and says, hey, we're actually going to be the world's computer. We're going to be able to have developers build dApps, write smart contracts, and do whatever they want. So Vitalik has said NFT is actually quite a surprising development for him as a use case. Ton, as a sort of third generation, came along with the idea that we have an objective in mind to create decentralized web through Ton domain name service, Ton proxy, and Ton storage, which is peer-to-peer storage, kind of like the IFPS, but in a decentralized manner. In addition to that, it's a Turing complete smart contract with the proof of stake, aggressive sharding in it, which allows for dApps to create new use cases, which, like you said, it's going to adapt to the fact that if this is going to be integrated and sort of proliferated through a social network which has 700 million monthly active users, people are going to come up with new use cases. So it's not going to be just like an NFT. It could be NFT with a certain utility for a specific channel inside Telegram. So those are all things that we're thinking of.
Absolutely. And we will be curious to ask about the plan of Telegram as well. That's something very native to crypto people as well.
Right.
So is it is there any development plan for Telegram as well? Are we going to move that to like peer-to-peer communication with like decentralized servers and it kind of network protocol as well?
Yeah, so I do want to clarify that Telegram and the Tom Foundation is independent of each other. However, Telegram team, knowing that they are the creators behind the original blockchain, they're the creators behind the concept and the white paper, they have come out in the public back in, I believe it was July or August of this year, noting that Toncoin is probably the best blockchain for them to start developing on to sort of, I would say, gear up Telegram to be supercharging it with Web3 rails and crypto rails. So one of the things that they're going to do probably in Q4 2022 as a completion mark is to create Telegram domain name service. So any channels that you have. So for example, Cointelegraph has a channel. There's Unfolded, which is another channel that aggregates news. That Unfolded channel could be effectively a domain name, which is an NFT that can be traded, that can be bought. And that's what Telegram's doing right now. They are writing a smart contract to allow this, to allow for sticker packs to be crypto, becoming a crypto sort of an NFT thing. Allowing channels to do that. Allowing channels to also have people who are subscribed to the channel pay in Toncoin to the channel owners. So those are all things that they see as value extraction for the Telegram setting, and we're bullish on them being able to deliver this.
So from my understanding that this will be a natural match of Telegram as a very large number of users utility that build on the open network, the Ton blockchain. So because the vision and the creators, they all match. And what are the advantages of the Ton network that is attracting further utilities or further development applications to build upon it, considering like the whole layer one ecosystem is very competitive now?
I would say, from the core technical side of things, this technology is still years ahead of other competitors. So if you think of like Near, who's saying that Nightshade, which is gonna increase their number of shards from 1 to 3 in 2023, we already have out of the box, dynamic sharding, which dictates the fact that based on the number of load, the number of shards can increase or decrease as needed. So that's definitely from the core technical side. From a more, I would say application and sort of usability side of things, we're ensuring that we are doing things such as hackathons. We're doing things such as awards program, which incentivize people to create dApps that start with the vision of mass adoption in mind, right? So we want teams, so take @Wallet as an example. It is a wallet inside Telegram, which you can send peer-to-peer Toncoin, and you can actually add it as an attachment with the native interface inside Telegram. From our research, most retail users who don't have an incredible amount of balances under, for example, wallets, they care about convenience, they care about efficiency, rather than having to type around, remember key and private key and all those things, right? So we are encouraging teams to build with sort of that angle in the mind, rather than saying, hey, I'm gonna build some random crypto project and then try to find the product market fit to the masses. So that's how we see as a differentiator to other blockchains.
Right. So in that regard, let's think backwards, think about the Web3. Like by the time when the Tom Foundation or the Tom blockchain was created, they were saying like the decentralized web, but now the name translated to Web3 now. Correct. So what was the vision of Web3 and what type of applications we're imagining? Then backwards we can develop those kind of applications. So from your point of view, the Web3 world, give us some tangible examples.
Right. So Toncoin is a utility token. So it's a utility token that's going to power all the different pipelines of decentralized web, which is Web3 rebranded. So we've already launched Ton domain name service. So effectively I can auction off, through an auction, buy Justin.Ton, which I already bought, and I had to fight for it, trust me. And I'm able to access in the future domain through that Justin.Ton. The second thing that's going to come is Ton proxy. So think of it as sort of a private server ADNL, but powered through Toncoin. So I'm able to pay in Toncoin to have that sort of privacy layer from the web from an end user perspective. Lastly, what's going to complete that trifecta is going to be Ton storage. So rather than relying on giant servers everywhere, I could effectively do torrent type systems where I can transfer storage. I can have it decentralized across the validator nodes who are going to be keeping record of those storage files and whatnot. So all of those things. Also, if it exists just in a web setting, we also believe that in itself is not going to create mass adoption. What's going to create mass adoption is those things that I just talked about, 3 things, all coming together inside Telegram's mobile first setting.
Yeah.
So Telegram has what's called web application view. So literally you could create a bot, you have a channel inside, you launch it, and it takes the mobile first user to a web page. And that web page, in the end, if we think about the decentralized Web3 version of that web page showing up on Telegram, that's how we believe that the sort of the linkage to the masses who are already mobile first friendly is going to be accessing Web3 as a first time gateway.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're talking about something, it's enormous actually. We're talking about a protocol, we're talking about the application, we're talking about the DNS, the proxy, the server. We're also talking about maybe in the near future, network gateways. In the near future, we're talking about different standard protocols, about messaging, and then let's say in another 3 to 5 years, there will be business models that is going to be built upon. So we are replicating what's Web 2 through Web3. We can refer a lot of business models and applications, of course, but there will be adjustment to the decentralized economic things. But how can Ton do this by themselves? Like it's a mass adoption thing. Like how are you going to advocate and bring this to the one protocol?
It's a tough question. I think the short answer is we can't do it alone. I mean, we need to invite teams who see our vision. Just like you said, I mean, this is bigger than just one simple blockchain. I mean, this is supposed to be, like you said, at the application layer, network layer, the gateway layer. So we are creating sort of that infrastructure. We're creating that pipeline for people to enter into, and they're welcome to come in and learn the language needed, but more importantly, see the vision and start with that in mind. Not just one simple play to earn game, but how do you create a game that's going to be sort of a series of games that you could do on the web view as well as Telegram view. So that's how we see it. We're going to encourage this through open competition. So awards program, kind of like the DeFi one that we have drafted, which has TVL as a KPI. But in the future, for NFTs, for GameFis, for wallets, we're going to invite founders, we're going to invite other teams to say, hey, from our experience building on other networks, these are the important KPIs. And in order to adopt that to a mass adoption keyword, here's how we see this KPI potentially changing. So we're going to sort of spread that message across the board.
Is Ton EVM compatible now?
Ton is not EVM compatible by design because surely it was built with way more scalability than what ETH has, even from a POS perspective. Yeah.
Okay, so that comes to the question that compatibility and bridges. So what do you think? We talked a lot about the Ton empire, like what could potentially be, but what about outside of this empire?
Yeah, I personally think that future is multi-chain. How we achieve that from a bridging perspective. So, for example, Ton's official Ton Foundation is going to have an EVM chain. We invited many other teams to come up with their own decentralized bridges. There's a team out of Korea, for example, called Orbit. They have 15 other mainnets, and Ton's going to be the 16th mainnet, which is going to launch in the end of September / early October. So bridging aside, I would say, Ton is a blockchain of blockchains, which means that in the future, we're going to have work chains that are EVMs, that are different, I would say, protocols as well. How we see that compatibility from I would say, like dApp building perspective, we're still trying to figure that out. But that being said, we have our own language called FunC. It is based mostly on C++, and so we believe that a lot of Web 2 developers who are already familiar with C++ are able to transition to Web 3 as a first gateway to Ton. And in addition to that, other blockchains, they have that one layer of EVM compatibility, but from our perspective, I think the bridges and having those portability in place is enough in the beginning to build out what is sure to be our own versions of the best apps.
Yeah. So let's assume that there is a team who is sitting right in front of you saying, hey, Justin, I want to build on top of Ton Foundation, on top of the Ton blockchain, and I have such an application ideas which can drive massive adoption of decentralized applications. What do you think of the future? In 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, can I monetize my application? Like, how long can I wait, or how long the patience do I need to have?
Yeah, what I would tell them is build where the users are. And from our perspective, given that the open network is doing a lot of partnerships and doing a lot of things in conjunction with the Telegram Messenger, that's where the users are. So if they build a business model that converts the Web 2 to Web 3 for the first time, that's surely going to be a blockbuster of a dApp. If they say, hey, we already have something that's EVM compatible, can we just copy and paste that into Ton? I think the simple answer is probably, that's too easy of a way to think about it. We think of L1s as like its own separate country, right? Yeah. If you're trying to move from one country to another and expect all the paperwork to be there, you hop on a plane, you go there, everything's done. We from a Ton perspective, we have our own paperwork, we have our own system, but it's a land of opportunity, right? That's how we sort of the analogy that I give to teams who are simply trying to say, hey, I just want to port everything that I did on EVM to here. It's going to take a little bit of patience. It's going to take a little bit of learning in the beginning, but you're creating for the next 5 years, not the next 5 months.
Yes, absolutely. And this is actually how the whole adoption curve is going to be, I think. I would agree with you. We are seeing a lot of infrastructure being built now, as you just mentioned. That's more tangible than the real application in the near future. What does user really need? We can explore further down. Okay, thank you very much, Justin, for joining us, and we have a great chat.